Yesterday, Zenless had their live stream for version 2.5 and they dropped some crazy stuff. New agents, brand new modes, quality of life changes, a more in-depth look into the story narrative, and more. This is basically a half anniversary if I've ever seen one. Ye Shunguang is officially the second Void Hunter we're getting in the game, and wow, from the looks of her animations alone, she's kinda cracked out of her mind. But I'm not really talking about the damage. Wow. Oh, and then there's the free characters we're getting and a bunch of buffs for the older characters too. In today's video, we'll be breaking down all of that. Why you absolutely should not skip her regardless of the type of player you are, which agents you should prioritize buffing, which is best for you to pick up for free, and my overall impressions of every new change they announced coming to the game. Let's talk about it. Kicking this off with what should have been the lightest section, let's talk about the story for just a moment. In my previous patch overview, I mentioned that season 2 seemed to be taking the direction of anime similar to, I don't know, Hell's Paradise, Durarara, or even Dorehidoro. Did I say that right? Basically, where the main protagonist is introduced early on, but the story is told through multiple perspectives of every character involved. Season 2 caught a lot of flack for not being good, but my opinion on this has drastically changed. Lately, I've taken the time to replay the entire story from a fresh account and without any of the normal gotcha patch breaks. Season 1 felt more akin to JJK, where everything happening somehow involves the proxy's influence, but then Season 2, now that I've been able to experience more of it without the internet's interruption, feels a lot like Durarara. You know what I'm trying to say. Every chapter follows this or that about the character and gives you their perspective of how they tie into the overall main story, which then leaves the question how and why are the proxies even involved in this story that's so overarching it involves everyone in the country, even if they don't know each other. At the end of it all, the narrative directors, who I also believe changed directions somewhere around 1.5, established that they'll be wrapping up everything regarding season 2 in order to start off season 3 strong. I think this will help more players truly appreciate all of season 2 as a whole instead of in short patches. Next, we can quickly jump into Ye Shunguang. This character looks cracked, and I really need you guys to hear me when I start yapping about her. I love her character development so far in the story. I really enjoy her design, and I think she has some of the sickest animations to date in the game. But I also think she is going to be another character that ruins the perception of players in this game. I'll make an entirely separate video on that, but TLDR, take the reasons why some players feel like Miyabi ruined the game, then combine that with why I believe Astra makes more bad players than good players, and that's the fear that I have for Ye Shunguang. Enough doom posting about Kanye though. Let's get into her overview. From what I gathered, this girl is a main DPS. She also looks ridiculously self-sufficient to the point where it's safe to say she doesn't really need a team. Whatever gives her something positive will get the job done. Currently, she's got her own special attribute, just like Miyabi and Ishwin, called Honed Edge. They didn't reveal if this special version of Physical has its own properties or not during the live stream, so I'll reveal more once I start releasing CE server videos. Kanye is our first dual form agent. For those familiar with Wuthering Waves, she is basically Zenless's version of Kartithia, and I mean that in almost every sense of the name. In base form, her attacks look like regular physical attribute with a pretty standard moveset. In order to Magical Girl transform to her enlightened mind state, she needs to accumulate enough of these sword points called Qingming Sword Force. She has a couple unique ways to do this. Some of them, like using the unique moves in her base form, are slower than others. Then with her additional ability, if a teammate activates an Ether Veil, then Zhao Guang gains 3 Qingming swords. Also, something they're doing, which I also really like, is that Ye Shunguang is the base form and Zhao Guang is the enhanced form, the magical form. So if you had both Lucia and Zhao on the team, you would instantly be able to transform with the right combo. An even stronger combo will let you build up sword force naturally, expunge it all, then immediately transform again with the Ether Veil combo. Then there's her intro skill. Yes, the same unique mechanic from Wuthering Waves has made its way into Zenless Zone Zero, and she's the only one in the game that has this as of the time of you listening to this video. This is kind of interesting to see them try, and I'm looking forward to watching how this will play out. Performing her entry skill or holding basic attack after she reaches maximum sword force is gonna activate something called Illuminating Darkness, transforming her from Ye to Zhao. The third method is just activating her ultimate. This is the fastest and easiest method, which will will make good for strong combo theories. I assume you'll naturally build her sword force before a stun window starts, meaning most of your damage and resource management will depend on how efficiently you can manage this sword force of hers, just like Miyabi's Frostfire. They also showed off the fact that with Dailin, you can give her a free transformation. Hello? Zhao Guang also has 2 ultimates, just like Cartithia. Go figure. Ultimately, here's how I feel about Ye Shunguang. I absolutely love almost everything they've presented with her. The dual forms, each of them having their own name, the introduction of the intro skill, and even leaving the mystery of what her actual unique attribute does. With my usual level of insight, I can tell she's going to be an extremely powerful agent that leaves a huge impact on the game. All of that said, I am still worried about the immediate patch after she hits the scene. Just by following what happened last time with Miyabi, where the devs present us with an extremely powerful character like that who pretty much ignores everything currently in the game, it usually leads to self-destruction or over-reliance by the players, which, I mean, I don't know. As I keep saying, it's absolutely wonderful for the immediate player, but it's so bad for the health of the game. I understand that's not a sentiment that everyone shares though, so I'll just continue my piece. After Kanye, we have Miss Zhao coming at the same time as our Void Hunter, and she's completely free. Yes, you heard it right, folks. Just like last year's half anniversary giving us Harumasa for free, we're receiving Zhao for free. Also similar to back then where Harumasa was one of Miyabi's best partners. If you had the skill to play him, Zhao is easily one of, if not Ye Shunguang's best partner. The main difference here is that Zhao seems to be an extremely simple character to play. My initial impression of this character was that she'd be this strong, on-field defense agent that dished out some decent damage while your DPSs were on cooldown. However, during the live stream, they quickly showed me that wasn't the case. Zhao is an ice defense agent with a core passive that's focused around her meter called Frostbite. Whenever other agents deal damage on field or she uses certain skills, she'll passively build up this meter. Once that meter gets filled, if you swap her onto the field, she'll activate her own intro skill, Burst of Frost, to throw a flurry of frozen slashes at the enemy and activate Ether Veil. So now this is the second official character and the only other character in the game that has something called an intro skill, or I guess in Zenless's case it's an entry skill, but you know what I'm saying. That Ether Veil is what allows her to trigger a quick assist, grants buffs to the entire team, and trades off a percentage of her own HP as recoverable overtime health for the entire team. She also has an interesting type of hold attack where she charges her sword, I don't know man, just like a great sword from Monster Hunter, and then she slams it over the enemy's head after a full charge. What's cool about this is if you activate the Veil while she's on the field, then trigger the quick assist, she'll automatically chain into her final verdict attack. And well, I mean, I guess that's kind of it. Like, I feel like this patch is definitely going for the looks really cool but simple as heck to play type feel. That's not necessarily a bad thing by any means. I'm gonna have to test the damage output myself, but them saying Zhao's ultimate deals massive damage is either gonna make me lose trust for that phrase or work on a build that makes her an on-field DPS. Now I'm wondering, besides HP, what else her influential stat is gonna be? I don't think we've seen a crit damage influencer since what? Sanby? Now let's talk about which 4 characters are going to be on the upcoming banners. This time we're getting 5 total characters for the entirety of the patch. Zhao and Ye Shunguang are the new limited agents to focus on, with Zhao being free. None of you actually have to pull for her. Maybe her engine if it's that strong, but there isn't really anything to recommend here. Just focus on pulling Kanye. Regarding the rerun banner, this one is pretty interesting. For the first time in what feels like ever from the mainline gacha games, this rerun banner features a guaranteed limited agent and engine on your first pickup. That means whatever you're aiming for will have 0 50/50s to fight with. Alice, Soldier Zero Ambi, or Astra. Whatever you shoot for, if you shoot for it, it's guaranteed. Now obviously this is changing if you start going for multiple copies of things, but I'm assuming this section is for players who want to know what else they should pick up besides Ye Shunguang. At the moment, I'm making a separate video that goes into more detail for the 5 of them because it's a little more nuanced than just pick Astra, and honestly, at this point, there's a 9 out of 10 chance that she has the lowest pull value for the first time ever since her launch. I know, crazy, right? Another thing to consider, and exclusively for my spending players here, is that we have a spending event where we'll be able to choose a free 5-star agent and engine of our choice. I say free because you're not paying for this specifically, but you guys get what I mean. If you want me to make a video exclusively about this, just let me know in the comments down below. Beyond that, let's move on to the rest of the vid. Finally, we can speed blitz some of the new quality of life changes and additional gear coming into the game. Starting out, we have two new drive disc series entering the game, Whitewater Ballad and Shining Aria. Whitewater Ballad is clearly for Ye Shunguang, but I'm wondering if they're going to make more attack agents that can activate Ether Veil or extend it, because why else would you make a disc set for one agent? The other one is Shining Aria, and that's currently for no one in the game, so I can only assume this is for one of the upcoming Angels of Delusion. New outfits are coming to the game for Jane Doe and Ye Shunguang. We got Wholesome and Horny. I love both. The buffs for Bernice, Soldier 11, Grace, Ellen, and Sanby are going to help even more players, both old and new. A new co-op event that I hope becomes permanent. I'm still looking into it, so this might get its own video, but really depends on if the CE server allows me to play it. We're finally getting a substat selector, but I have some major gripes with this at the moment. It's amazing that we're getting this item, but the cost? Yeah, I'm complaining. There's also a bunch of events that are giving tons of pulls. I think someone did a mock-up for it on Twitter, and it's already up to over 120 pulls. You know what that means, right? Ye Shunguang guaranteed, boys! There's a new quick sweep function coming into the game across all of the resource grinding modes, and there's a massive rework happening to Shiyu defense. As a guy who's constantly talking about endgame, I have to make this topic its own video. Subscribe if you don't want to miss a beat. There's a lot more quality of life that's probably going on. I really didn't catch all of it to write down. I just grabbed the most things that were more important to me, but there's a lot of minute things happening that I will update over the course of time. All in all, this is an outstanding patch. A few players are already calling this a third relaunch of the game. They're flat out wrong, but I get where they're coming from. Zenless is pumping out some crazy updates in 2.5, and that's exactly what we want. Make more good changes like this. But you let me know how you feel about the upcoming patch in Zenless in the comments down below. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Smell you later.